Hello everyone and welcome to the Vital Bracelet raid video. This time I'm going to be hopefully catching the train and fighting the Reaper raid, which is the current raid on the Vital Bracelet app. So I'm using a slightly different setup to how I've done for previous months. I started using an old phone as a webcam, which uses the computer's debugging mode. So I have two phones that I'm using with the phone's debugging mode on, and hopefully this all works. So the raid started 6 minutes ago, so I'm a little bit late because I was trying to get this all setting up because it didn't want to play nice originally, so I had to do a bit of mucking around, but hopefully we're all good, touch wood. So let's grab this train. So I am running Gallant mode, Crimson mode from the Tamers Dims, which just released the other month. And now we're fighting the Reaper together. Oh, and there's one person on this train apparently. Oh dear. I have missed the train, so I better catch up. Unless people have just stopped caring about the Vital Bracelet, which hopefully is not the case. Oh, there's more people. So this raid was announced during the Digimon Con, which happened the other week, where we had a 20-minute long raid, which was you could either pick Diaboromon or Apocalymon. And if you picked Diaboromon, you ended up getting some extra goodies like a storage capsule and an extra banner, and that's because Diaboromon won, which means that we got more kills if we picked Diaboromon, but if you picked Apocalymon, you unfortunately didn't get those extras because the Apocalymon team didn't get enough kills. So it was fairly close though, but the raid itself was fairly laggy because there were so many people playing at once and they're all connected at the same time, and it was only during this 20-minute window where the raid was accessible. So there was like the Pulsemon running on the white screen, which is usually only seen for, maybe it's that screen. So you only kind of see it for a few seconds, but during the Digimon Con stream, it would be running for like 5 minutes. So during the raid, I think I only got to go like maybe 5 rounds. And of course the boss was defeated at the end of each turn. So if you didn't get your one hit in during that raid, or during that round rather, you didn't get any points. So it was kind of also hard to rank because if you weren't doing any damage, you were just going to fall down the rankings. My first few attempts I did hit, so I was able to rank around 1000th place, I think. But only because I hit a few times. I'm fairly certain that I'm sure that there's at least one person who entered and missed every single time and therefore didn't get to rank at all and not get any rewards. And I would say maybe not even like any of the rewards you get from winning because it wouldn't have registered you as actually ranking at all. But I'm not 100% on that. So in terms of how well I did last raid, I missed the storage capsule. I was placed 1024th, so I was kind of like, got really busy during that time and couldn't grind. I also tried to go for the just, instead of going for level 100, I was just grinding level 50 as that was kind of recommended, so I went with that strategy. But I actually found that that strategy wasn't particularly good, because everyone's raiding level 50, and it's the same thing that happened during the Digimon Con raid, is that because everyone's raiding that level, the raid boss is basically defeated in maybe 2 turns, sometimes even 1. So you more or less only get 1 attempt at fighting it, and if you don't do damage in that 1 attempt, you don't actually get any points. So the way you get points is it's how much damage that you've done. So if you don't hit the opponent, you don't do any damage. And that means that, get any points, and you don't rank up, because the ranking is how many points you have. So when I was doing level 50, I kept on, my Digimon was happy it wasn't getting injured because it was winning a lot, so its vitals were going up, it was in a good mood, but because it wasn't actually doing any damage, it wasn't increasing my point count, and I wasn't able to move up in the rankings. So I don't think I'll just go to level 50 like I did last time. I think I'll just keep on trying to get to level 100. I originally gave up because it was like a week into the raid and I was only at around level 60. And another thing is that because I was around level 60, I kept on having to go back to level 50 in order to attempt that raid. But I actually found that once I misclicked and started raiding on level 60, even though I was stuck there because nobody else was raiding it, and even though I was in danger of having my Digimon get injured and die, I was actually moving up in the rankings and getting more points because I was actually getting time to hit. I was getting 5 attempts to hit the raid boss rather than just the one, because level 50 was just so packed. In the last hour of the raid, everyone was just doing level 50. So I was only getting 1 attempt to attack, basically. And I kept on missing. So same as the Digimon Con, you're punished by not hitting if you are raiding with a lot of other people. And of course, that's not to say that you can't get really lucky with battling on level 50. That's a very valid strategy, and a lot of people do have that, and it's a good way if you don't want to spend all your V-coins on vital ups and mood ups. You can just fight level 50 and you will get a few hits in, but it's not very good for the last minute grinding because not only is everyone else there, you only get that 1 attack. And of course there are Digimon with more, with higher accuracy, but I was not using one of those. However, Dukemon Crimson Mode, or Galantmon Crimson Mode rather, is one of the best Digimon that you can currently have. I think it might be the actual overall best. So it's probably a good mon to try to get if you have the Tamers Dim already. I originally kind of wanted to aim for it for the Digimon Con raid, but I didn't have enough time to even raid to get a mega level Digimon from that Dim card by the raid. But I came close. I originally wanted to enter with Megidramon, but I ran out of time. So I went with Beelzemon Blast Mode instead, which probably was my other strongest, but I don't think his accuracy was very good. As I mentioned, I missed a lot in that Digimon Con raid. I don't think I got in any hits that time. Oh, I get another chance. Because I missed the first time. I also tried not to buy any chips in the last raid, but then in the last day, because I was so desperate in trying to get my points up, and I almost got there, I ended up spending my V-coins, so I don't actually have that many coins anymore, which is... I have to go through and sell my archives so I can get chips, because while if you're raiding in groups, you don't really need that many chips, because, I've got them here, but I'm not going to use them. I want to save them for the high levels, but the main ones that you probably want are, the attack ones. As I mentioned, your points are how much damage you do, so obviously if you increase your attacks, you're doing more damage. So, yeah, attack is a good chip to use. Another one is the reboot one, because if you get 1 hit by the raid boss, you get to come back to life and have another attempt. There's also the evasive chip, which is good, and the defense chip, which is good, but my main ones are attack, evasive, and reboot, especially on the high levels, because sometimes you get 1 hit, you come back, and then only to get 1 hit again. So the evasiveness one is pretty good there. But if I'm ever going to just have 1 chip, I think it would just be the evasiveness one. But I like to have more than just that. But yeah, I'm going to try to... this raid, I think because I missed the train, because I was about 6 minutes late to the start of the raid, I think that I'm not going to be able to get as far in during this video as I usually get to. I think I get to around level 30. I think I'm probably going to have to stop around 20 because I don't want this video to go on too long. I do like Digimon Crimson mode though. I'm glad he's here. And he's doing quite a bit of damage. And it looks like I'm not the only one with the Digimon Crimson mode. There was another one there as well. So I usually do check this, but I'm fairly certain that the Reaper is a null type, which makes sense because he's not actually a Digimon with an attribute. And in fact, I'm not seeing the usual little arrows that are just under the HP gauge there, which signify how the attack's going to end up. So if I'm weak against it or I'm strong against it, depending on my attribute, but it's not there at all, so I'm going to assume that it's null, which makes sense. Because yeah, Reaper is not a Digimon. Reaper is a D-Reaper. It's kind of like a code to delete Digimon. It's kind of a boring design, though. But it's nice to have like a tie-in to the most recently released DIMs. I'm wondering what kind of raid bosses we'll see in the future. Maybe like, I wonder if we'll do like a Frontier one next, because the DIMs that they announced at the Digimon Con are the Frontier DIMs, or at least they have silhouettes of Agunimon and Lobomon there. So I'm wondering if there'll also be a similar raid that ties into the DIM release, and we'll get like a Cherubimon or Lucemon raid battle. And if we get Cherubimon, I wonder if it'll be given the name of Kirpimon, because that was a translation error that was made on the Detectors toys, and I believe Cyber Sleuth in some of the games as well. So I'm wondering if we get, since we have Medical Dukemon, I wonder if we'll get Kirpimon, if that ever comes to the... Actually, no, we already do have Cherubimon on a DIM. So I wonder if... I haven't gotten... I have that DIM, but I haven't like gotten up to Mega yet. But I might do that just to see if it's written as Cherubimon or Kirpimon. Because yeah, we have the good version and the evil version for memory on that DIM. That's the Terriermon DIM. Oh good, I think I've caught up to the train. That's a relief. But yeah, so I know I say this every time, but I want to aim for level 100. It's a little bit of a grind to do it, and if I get busy in like the first week, there's no chance that I'm able to get back to that level. I think the time before last I got up to level 97, and that was like, oh, that was so close. And I was also ranked like 900th place, I think, or maybe 800th, I can't remember. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing the level 50 grind again. That didn't really work out that well for me. It's not a strategy that I can really swear by, but a lot of people do. My own strategy is have a lot of V-coins from... Well, I don't have a lot of V-coins. I did have a lot of V-coins, and then the raid before last kind of I spent all of them. But if you get V-coins by selling the archives or by doing lots of battles, I think if you clear out all the practice battle-related missions, you get like 50,000 V-coins, I think, which isn't that much considering you've just wasted a lot of time. But it's a good way to start, I guess. And then you use all the V-coins to get mood ups, because if your Digimon gets sad, it'll get injured, and if your Digimon gets injured 3 times, it dies. So my ultimate strategy is to spend lots of V-coins, get the vital ups if needed, or just the mood ups. Alternatively, if you have a little bit more time to spare, you can, instead of using mood ups and vital ups, you can battle in the arena if it's open until you win a lot, and then your Digimon will get happy because of the wins. Of course, if your Digimon loses, then it's not so useful. So I recommend going into the standard battles, which lets you choose whatever Digimon you want, and it's from whatever level. So choose a child level Digimon, like a Gabumon or something, and just beat up a child, basically, and get the happiness by beating up children, is what I'm saying. Which is something that you can say in Digimon and definitely not in real life. This Pulsemon haunts my dreams, by the way. But yeah, no, the Digimon Con was pretty cool. The Frontier Dims, I don't think I've mentioned this in a video before, but because they are doing Agunimon and Wolfmon, I'm kind of scared that that there'll be 2 Dims and the children on each Dim will be Agunimon on one Dim and then Wolfmon on the other. Which I don't want. I don't want them to be children level Digimon. They're always adult level Digimon in my mind. But because of the Pendulum Z, we had them as child level Digimon, which was weird. So ideally, they are adult level Digimon, and we have Strabimon, who evolves into Wolfmon, and Flamemon, who evolves into Gunimon, as the children on the Dims. Now that means that we could potentially have the other slots on the Dim be the rest of the spirits, and they can kind of be split out the way that the characters gave the 2 main characters their spirits in the Frontier season, where they kind of gave out their spirits, and if we kind of split them off that way, we can have all the spirits, human, beast, hybrid, and maybe even the ancient warriors split out in that way across those 2 Dims. And that's basically how I hope that it's going to be. How I don't want it to be is for, as I mentioned, Agunimon and Wolfmon to be the child level Digimon on those Dims, and it have not much to do with Frontier. And as much as I don't like Frontier, I do want there to be the full roster rather than just those 2, because that would be not so fun, because that's what we got in the Pendulum Z. However, I really, really would like Ancient Irismon on the Dim. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm a negative person, so no, I want to be a positive person. I want it to be Flamon and Strabimon, because that's how it is in the TCG, and how it should be. Because the Pendulum Z was weird, how it says, like, oh yes, the human spirits are the child level, and then we have the beast spirits, which are the adult, and the hybrids are the perfects, and then we have the fusion ones, I think that's what it's called, is the mega level. I'm like, okay, I guess that, when you put it like that, it makes sense, I guess. And with the super ultimate being Susanomon, so it makes sense in that case. But also, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And also, if we're taking into account the ancient spirits, I really would like the ancient spirits to be on there. And then they can Jogress or something to be Susanomon or something along those lines. And that's how I'm hoping it'll be. But no, a Frontier tie-in raid battle would be cool. I would say they would probably go with Lucemon fall down mode, maybe. But yeah, I can't imagine it just be fighting the Lucemon, the standard child Lucemon. Maybe he can like do a special attack where the animation of the art kind of changes to the small Lucemon. I don't know. But we don't even know when the Frontier Dims are coming out. There's no news about them at all. So one would say it wouldn't be next month. So I wouldn't just say, oh yes, the next raid battle is going to be Lucemon to tie it in, because we don't know anything about the Dim cards yet, just that they are going to be happening. That's it. We just know that they're coming soon, and we have silhouettes of Lobomon and Agunimon on the poster to show it off. But hopefully it's not too much of a wait, because we have the Primeval Warrior Dim coming out in about a week, and that's cool. But after that, we don't have any news for any other Dims. We have the Kamen Rider, I think it's the Gen M VBM coming out next month, so April. But other than that, we don't have any news about any other Dims or VBM cards, except, of course, the Frontier Dims, which I mentioned. but we don't have any date for them, just that they're going to happen. There's also the dim cards that were mentioned in V-Jump but were postponed, that were meant to be released in January. Those were I think it was like the Heaven's Judgment ones. It was meant to have Mitamamon and Seraphimon, I believe. But because the Tamers Dims were originally meant to be released late last year and ended up being released in February of this year, they kind of had to be shifted. But we haven't heard anything about them since they got postponed. In fact, we heard about them being postponed before we actually heard about them being announced. And that is because it was like the day before the V-Jump issue which mentioned them came out. And the V-Jump issue said, oh yeah, this is coming out in January, so it had to be like a disclaimer that came out before V-Jump, like the day before, to say, hey, so we mentioned something that's no longer, like, happening. It's now been postponed. So they were literally cancelled before we even heard about them, which is kind of sad, because, I don't know, I like more Dims, but I'm also surprised that we haven't heard anything about them. I thought that we might hear about them at Digimon Con, whether they got changed into the Frontier Dims, or if they're going to be coming after the Frontier Dims, and the Frontier Dims are just there as the anniversary. I believe the anniversary celebration for Frontier is in April anyway. I think that sounds about right. So I guess that would make sense to get information about them for April. Maybe they were meant to come out in April, but then the Tamers Dims were delayed, or maybe it's going to come out on the anniversary like the pre-orders for the Tamers GP Dims, because they came out on the anniversary for Tamers. And we've also got the Savers anniversary coming up, and that's exciting because I do enjoy Savers. But yeah. I'm not really sure what the next raid box could be, because if we do a Frontier one, I don't think it'll be until we get the Dims, and it'll be a month after we get the Dims, probably, like the next raid battle after the Dims. I think it's going to be before. So that one could be, like, it might not even be until June or July even, depending on when those Dims come out. But again, we don't even know anything about, we don't know what they're called. We don't know anything about them except that they're coming soon, and that one would assume that Agunimon and Lobamon are both on them. But there could be a bunch of Dim cards. Those could be announced, and so could a bunch of other Dim cards. But it is concerning. It feels like the Dim card releases have slowed down. We found out so many that were coming out last year, and then it's kind of gone quiet, which is concerning. But I did see on Twitter that there's a new survey to fill in, which is, what features would you like in a future Vital Bracelet? So I guess we're not just killing off the Vital Bracelet just yet, and we also have the new app coming out. But it does feel like it went from, you know, selling all the Dim cards to slowing that down. I guess Bandai wanted us to get on the hype train very early in the VB's life. But I still stand by what I said in the video I released the other day. I still think that the Vital Bracelet is the future of the franchise. Especially because there's still no news of the raid boss has been defeated. There's still no news of a replacement for Rearise for a new mobile game. The only news that we have is about the next Vital Bracelet app, which is apparently going to have all these PvP battles. And that's another bit of news from Digimon Con if you didn't hear. But the most exciting parts of the Digimon Con were, for me, the Vital Bracelet stuff. I feel like they put a lot of time into the Vital Bracelet segment, as well as the TCG segment, and also some of the anime segment. So I guess that must be what's working for Bandai right now. That must be what's making the money. We're getting lots of TCG stuff, because that's making money. We're getting Vital Bracelet stuff, because that's making money. And the anime is always running. So I think that's what Bandai's putting money in. Not so much the video games, which kind of surprises me, but I guess they can't be making video game money because they haven't been making video games. which makes sense. I mean, Cyber Sleuth is constantly on sale, and it's very good, but it's constantly on sale, and that can't be making a whole bunch of money. So yeah, a lot of people were fairly disappointed about the video game segment of Digimon Con. I sort of expected it to be an information session because the segment was called Q&A session. I think that Bandai probably hyped it up a bit more than they should have. But I was also... It was called a Digimon Con, not like a Digimon announcements thing. And I think I even said in my predictions video that I wouldn't be too surprised if we didn't have any announcements at Digimon Con at all. And we got a few announcements. We got the next bricks that are coming out in English at some point have cool designs. Like there's a tie-dye one. And I can't remember if I mentioned this in my Digimon Con wrap-up video, but I am fairly confident they're going to be Ver revivals, which are just the DM20th, but with a bunch of quality of life improvements. And I kind of slept on them when they were released in Japan because they were originally advertised as the same as the 2017 release. So I was like, oh, I don't need that, that's just the same. But it turned out to be the same, but with quality of life improvements, which wasn't advertised, which is kind of annoying, and I don't believe that they sold particularly well because they were advertised as something that they weren't. They were actually better than they were advertised, which is unusual. Usually things are not as good as they're advertised, but for this thing it was advertised literally as the same as the 2017 release, which, you know, people already had, so I didn't get them, and I know of a few people who also didn't get them because they were the same as they already had. And now they're like $100 each. And that's like the only modern Digimon virtual pet that I'm missing because it was advertised as the same as I already had, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll skip this one. Should not have skipped it. It kind of came out and no one was really talking about it, and then I think someone got it and was like, hey, this is just better. Like, oh no, damn. It's got like the fridge sleeping functionality instead of napping. It's got, it fixed the poop problem, which the DM20s have, where it just poops far too much. And yeah, I really hope that we get them in English. It's weird that they showed them off before we even get anything about the DMX3, though. I wasn't expecting any news about the DMX3, but since we're getting DMX2, it seems like pretty obvious. But I'm just... Why are we releasing random bricks? And hopefully not just forgetting that DMX3 exists. Raid boss has been defeated. Maybe I will go up to raid level 30. I don't know. No, I probably should stop now. It is late. I haven't even mentioned the sprite, but it's not as flashy as the previous raid battles. It's kind of just like, it looks like somebody's spaghetti. That's all I can really describe. It's not as it's not as flashy as the previous ones, like the Tonosama Mamemon one, or the Valentine's Day Angelomon, or the Christmas Pumpkinmon, not Christmas Pumpkinmon, Christmas Cherrymon, and Halloween Pumpkinmon, Christmas Pumpkinmon. That's something I'd like to see. It's like the Nightmare Before Christmas, but a pumpkin. So much better. Because he was a skeleton. Oh look, we get to see his special attack. It's also boring. Yeah, I mean, the D Reaper is kind of like a boring opponent. He just kind of sits there and eats Japan, or eats Tokyo rather, and he's kind of not super flashy when he fights. Like he just sort of slowly eats away at things. So yeah, he's not a particularly... Are our attacks identical? I don't know how it took me like 25 levels to realise, but fairly certain those attacks that Crimson Mode has and D Reaper have are both just big fireballs, which, again, not particularly interesting, and also, unless I'm completely misremembering, not the attack that the D Reaper has, or Reaper rather, which is just one of the D Reaper side. They all have names, by the way. They're like the angels in Evangelion. They all have names, but nobody knows them. The only angel I know is and it's late, so I'm completely blanking on the name, but the cube one, the one that goes whoa, that angel is like the only angel I typically know the name of. I don't know why my brain wants to say Raphael. That's not his name at all. But yeah, that's the only angel I typically know the name of, because they don't actually say the angels' names. They just flash up on the screens. I used to love Evangelion as a kid. It was like my first anime, because before that, every other anime was like, oh, this is cartoon, because I watched Digimon and Pokemon and Dragon Ball and Card Captor, and that was all just those were all just cartoons. But Evangelion was like the first anime that I watched where I'm just like, oh, this is anime. But before then, it was just like, this is cartoon. But yeah, I'm fairly certain the attacks that the Reaper doing are the same attacks that Crimson Mode's doing. I'm not sure if it's just copying my attacks, and that's like a thing that's doing, or if, I don't know, the Reaper's attacks are just kind of like eats Tokyo. Are they the same? They're similar enough. It's very boring. Yeah, it's nice to see some Digimon from the new Dims coming out. And of course, Gaomon always. I don't know why I feel like he's been there forever. He's only been there since the Mad Black Raw, I think, is the one. And he's also quite good. But yeah, this was the Reaper raid. Probably the most boring of the raids, because I guess it's just not a Digimon. It's a D-Reaper, and it's just code. It's boring, kind of, compared to all the other really nice raids we've had. I guess it's because we've had like a few holiday raids in a row where we've had, we had the Christmas one, and then before that we had Halloween, but then we had like a non-holiday one, and then we had the Christmas one, and then we had the New Year's one, then we had Valentine's Day. Oh, it's Easter next month. I think that we could do like an Easter raid. What day? I don't know what day Easter is, but I know it's, I think it's in April. I think one year we had it in like late March, and that was weird. But I think it's possible that it's in other months that aren't April. Unless I'm completely wrong, I don't know. I just know I have the day off for it. As an adult, we don't really participate in Easter eggs at all. Because I'm adult, I buy the chocolate like the day after Easter because it's all cheap on at Woolies. Okay, we will go up to raid level 30. I've decided right now. But yeah, maybe the next raid we have is like an Easter raid. What other holidays are there? I don't know. There's like Easter, and then yeah, I think it's just nothing until Halloween. I mean, we don't even do Halloween here. I just know that it's Halloween because all the Americans on the internet will let me know that it's Halloween. And then I think there's, also an American one is Thanksgiving, but I have no idea what day that's on. I think all I know is it's somewhere between Halloween and Christmas, I think. Why do you want so many holidays that feature food around the exact same time? Why don't we put more holidays that involve food in like June or something? Because otherwise they're all clumped together like at the end of the year or the start of the year. It's just, oh look, an Imperial Digimon Fighter mode. It's been a while. But yeah, hopefully, maybe I would say that if we get another holiday raid, it'll be an Easter one. I know that Japan's not particularly super into Easter like they are for Halloween and Christmas and New Year, or even Valentine's Day for that matter, but they have done Easter things in the past. There's been like, this is I'm tired, this is the only example I have, but the Tamagotchi ones tend to do Easter-ish themed things. So hopefully we get a little Easter raid. I'm trying to think of bunny Digimon that aren't Lotmon and Cherubimon. Maybe that's when we get our Cherubimon raid, I don't know. But that's, or Antilamon maybe, is probably more of like a definite bunny character. So I guess we could have like an Antilamon raid. And I think, is regular Antilamon vaccine or data? I know that the virus one is obviously virus. Hey, we got up to raid level 30. But yeah, I think that'll be the next raid. I don't know, I feel fairly confident on that. That yeah, next raid, Easter raid. Let's go with that. But yeah, so I'm basically done for the night. This was my first attempt at raiding the train. Riding the raid train, rather. Raiding the train works too, I guess. And I'll probably do a few more rounds just as I'm getting this video set up, because I do want it to come out first thing tomorrow morning. So I'll get this video together and probably raid during that time, and then I'm going to go beddy byes. So yes, thanks for sticking with me for this entire video. Hopefully there were less glitches than there have been previous ones. My phone didn't overheat because it's actually cold, as you can tell by the fact I'm wearing clothes. And yeah, and the OBS seemed to behave itself. So that's exciting. That's cool and fun. But yeah, so thanks for sticking with me for this whole video. Let me know what Digimon you are raiding alongside for this raid. Let me know what your predictions are for the next few raids. Do you think we're going to get an Easter themed one? Am I completely blanking on a bunch of bunny rabbit Digimon that exist? We could have, I don't know. I'm going to say, I don't know why Patamon comes to mind. Patamon is not a rabbit. He just has big ears. But anyway, those are my predictions for the next raids. Let me know what your predictions are for the next raids, and also maybe your predictions for the upcoming Frontier Dims or any upcoming Dims that we might get in the future. For some reason I was about to say, hey, Beelzemon, that's a bunny. No, those are wings, not ears at all. No. But anyway, so let me know all your answers to my questions and more in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. And of course I will see you in the next video. I'm going to click this one now. And now I will say goodbye. See you in the next one. Bye!